The following content has been provided by New St. Andrews College in Moscow, Idaho. For more information, visit us online at nsa.edu.
Hear the world calling, but son, don't you listen. They're only trying to drag you back into prison, that's right.
Well. Welcome back to What Have You. I'm Rachel Jankovic.
Becca Merkel.
And guys, we podcasted our hearts out. And now I'm afraid we have nothing left to say.
We're out of enthusiasm. We
are out of enthusiasm as much as we are out of batteries a minute ago.
And it's dark.
We were coming
we
in
didn't
for a
know.
landing on what we were sure was a full-length podcast, and we turned the light on to see that the power had gone out.
And it's nowhere to be found.
And do you know what you missed? You missed the time. Here we are, sitting in the dark, and you missed the
In
time
front of
when
my
I
house.
said sorry. Every time I cross my legs, I'm like rumpling in some kind of a paper bag down there. And Becca's like, "Oh yeah, sorry about that." So I kick around in a swirling leg motion
like a
to
ha
illustrate it.
everyone.
I was just gonna illustrate for you that there was something
like,
rumbly.
let
And
me
Becca,
make fun of Becca's car.
and then Becca yells, "It's a salad!" It's a salad, guys. I had salad all over my shoe, like dressing. Who thinks that there's an open air salad at their feet in a car? I was not ready for that. But I will tell you that I am going to proceed with greater caution. No
It's
more
a
blind rumpling of the goods.
And it was a dressed salad. It
Yeah,
had,
right.
It had like a jalapeno ranch on it.
There were major downfalls. Also, we had already covered the waterfront on my joke about some Christmas when I don't have a toddler peeling mandarins. I'm going to be like, why doesn't it feel like Christmas?
Mhm.
And then today, our cousin posted a photo of mandarin peels on her couch, and then today I went in to spiff up the bathroom before some people came over, and there were mandarin peels behind the toilet. I felt like we'd sunk to a new low. And I thought to myself, what we need is some kind of hashtag for this mandarin situation, and we should all be Instagramming photos of where we find the mandarin peels at Christmas time.
That's funny.
I think, what do you think? It's a mandarin life.
Could be. That
that-
might be a good one.
Yeah.
My kids are big enough that if I find mandarin peels in reckless places, I'm like,
Who
what
did
is
it?
that?
Who did this, you crazies?
It's not like a cute little winsome feature.
Well, I would not say when I found it behind the toilet that I thought that was cute. I was mostly just like, are you joking?
Yeah, my kids don't really, to their credit, I haven't found mandarin peels in bad places this
That's
year.
good. So I need to also
Anyway.
say that I already Instagrammed a photo of the recipe for the sugar cookies that I made
She
tonight.
made sugar cookies. So we're having soup night at my house.
All right.
all the
Well, see,
freshmen-
I feel like we just
We've
talked
talked about this. All the freshmen are at my house.
We're
I invited
podcasting
the
live
Jenks's.
from during soup
We
night.
ate some soup and then we ducked out and we're sitting in front of my house in the dark, and then we blew up a podcast.
I thought we were already pushing our doing a podcast at this time, so we're gonna have to do a mini right now.
It's gonna have to be short. But the thing is, I feel like this is a little unkind because in the previous podcast, the one lost to posterity.
The last time we talked
That
about
one.
this 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, but see, we had framed it and we had set the stage with the craziness of my finals week and all the stuff, and it explains to some extent why there might be an open air salad in my car that is still sitting there. But this time, no.
Not anymore.
We
I
just,
kicked it
we
up,
just
so.
break out and tell people that there's salad flung around in my car, and we don't have any context.
Guys, get on the on-ramp, the slow on-ramp that leads you to believe that there was a legitimate reason that there was an open salad in the car at my feet.
At her feet, in the dark, and
Yeah.
she kicked it all over the place, and there you go.
Made it better
Made
with
it
that
better.
work.
No,
Yeah.
but she made really good cookies, and she brought them to soup night. I made really bad bread, but we don't want to talk about it anymore. I think we've
talked at
we've
length
already
about bread.
talked about it. The bread disaster.
I can't imagine you would want to hear it again.
No,
You
you
didn't
don't
get-
want to hear it again. We
Yeah.
don't want to hear it again.
Mm-mm.
But then we proceeded to become rude about Leonard Cohen, and so I
We
think
made
maybe
rude remarks. Becca thought maybe we weren't supposed to have talked about
maybe that was the
Leonard
reason.
Cohen being.
Maybe that's why.
heard there was a secret chord that David
This might be like as controversial as your great storybook Bible comments.
But you don't
Stop singing
really
it.
care for music. Do ya?
Oh, I can't do it. I cannot.
Oh man.
And the reason I
To me,
cannot,
it's like the Janis Joplin of Christmas.
I think Janis Joplin has a certain something about her. But anyway, yeah, Bobby McGee has.
Me and my Bobby McGee. Yada da 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 da. Yada da 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 da. My Bobby McGee. Yeah.
Come on, you gotta give her feeling.
Oh, she had some Shazam
Feeling
for
about
sure.
as faded as my jeans. That's actually a good line. You know, that's pretty good.
That's-
Yeah, it's good.
yeah.
It is good.
Yeah.
But no, I just have to take a moment though to say the reason I object to the Hallelujah song is because it has a great sound. Like, I like the way it sounds. It sounds as if he's saying something deep. But if you
But it's just
have,
dark.
have a quick Google, look up those lyrics, and you will find that it is not Hallelujah. It is an utterly anti-Hallelujah song.
Right.
It turns the concept of Hallelujah inside out and then kicks it. So
Okay.
that's why I mind it. Anyhow, now that we've covered Leonard Cohen on a second run through, because that's important.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe the tangents that led us to the point where
I
we
know,
were
I'm having
talking
trouble.
about
It's making me
It's
realize
like-
why we have so much trouble giving Gemma a summary of what we
summaries
talked
after
about.
the fact. We're like,
Because we're like actually in the middle of it. We don't know what we
well,
talked
there
about.
was the salad incident.
There
And
was
then
that.
we said some rude things about Leonard Cohen,
We
but
talked
we're not
about
sure why.
needing to bake bread for 20 years before you know what's going to happen with a loaf.
I think that it was probably good we cut all that out. I think
It
we
might
were-
have
I
been
think
getting
we
a
were
little
being
bit thick and
tedious.
bready.
Too much bread.
Too much
we
bread.
We can put bread on the back burner for a little bit.
Somebody asked us online what we thought of online dating, and I didn't respond
Oh,
because
I forgot about that.
I actually wasn't sure that I feel like I would need so many more details about Christians being involved in online dating. I don't need more details about Christians being involved in like Tinder. I'd say no. Yeah, may not. That's not a smarty pants way to go about acting like a
Sure.
Christian. But online dating or online matchmaking services, we've known a number of people probably who ended up meeting someone that way, and
I
that
feel like it's probably like any other sort of system or method for anything in life, which is basically like there are ways of using it with wisdom and there are ways of being
just
incredibly
super
foolish.
foolhardy. Yeah.
And there are some methods that more lend themselves to foolishness and others
Yeah,
that more lend
totally.
themselves to wisdom. But particularly if somebody's in a difficult situation already or whatever, I think that, you know,
I think that it obviously you have to hold it loosely, just like you always need to hold everything loosely
Yeah.
before God. Not think I'm finally taking this into my own hands and getting myself a match.
Sure.
And you want to make sure that you have like some accountability and some input from people who would have their eyes on the bigger picture in a less entangled way. Like your desire for it to shake out optimistically might be too high. Like, you know, women are typically that way. Like, oh, I could change
Sure.
him. Or, oh, this
Yeah.
is not a big deal. Or we've known people think like major doctrinal things. Oh, it's not a big deal because we're in love. And you're like, oh, but it will be a big deal. Like,
Yeah.
if you
But
don't
that's the
actually...
case when you
But
just-
that's always the case, yeah.
But to be honest, like I don't know anything about it. I probably shouldn't wing off with an opinion. But at the same time, like I think one of the ways women go wrong in relationships all the time is by getting romantically attached to a guy before she has
having really
like-
fully gotten
so like
confidence that she may, with a free conscience,
So,
be attracted
she
to this
loves
person.
him before she respects him enough.
Right.
And then the problem is you start fudging on all of those things, like big picture principled stuff.
Right.
Because you're already romantically entangled. And I have to say that is one of the things that I could see being a bizarrely being a benefit to the
Yes, that you're like actually
no,
weeding
I'm
things out at
sorry.
the outset.
Like, these are things that are actually non-negotiables for me. These things put you off the table, and you haven't been swept away already. Like,
So long as you're not a person who can get swept away without.
but also,
much.
like, yeah, I think
Provided you're not easily swept away
but
by
I also
the
think
potential.
that the other potential is, like, if you are at that point of wanting to try online dating, presumably it's because there's nobody around and you're feeling like there's not going
Yes.
to be anyone around, and you're wanting, and so with that, there's also the potential to be wanting, like, you don't want to be somebody who just wants anyone.
Yes.
You still need to be super discerning, and
It's actually always, there's the ditches on every side,
Yeah.
because at the same time as you want to say, do not lower your standards. You want to say, but make sure your standards are godly standards. Make sure that your standard is not like, I don't like guys who have polos.
oh my gosh.
Or
I was
Or,
literally,
like, but
no,
I'm- were you about
literally,
to
I
say
was
that?
going to say, I will only like guys who wear polo shirts.
weird.
And you were pulling out the polo shirt as a...
Guys, there's polo shirts in the airwaves of Moscow right now.
Yeah,
but
or
anyways,
it's like-
you want it to be a godly standard and not like, oh, it's a deal breaker for me if he likes golden retrievers. Like, let's just be real and let's not be that weird. Like,
Yeah.
let's just understand that there's a lot about you that can be changed and different and still be honoring God. That is those sorts of things. What should be non-negotiables is, you want to know that you can follow this man, right? You want to know that you can, still being a godly woman, follow this man. Like,
Yeah.
that you can, and that's a thing that you shouldn't play around with. Like,
Yeah.
you don't want to get messy at the edges with.
I think the biggest thing, like you said, though, is accountability. Like, just have somebody older that you trust, or a good friends
Yes.
that can, like, actually talk about it with you.
And that you would commit in advance to hearing input from other people, because if everyone else's
is like
alarm
run for
bells
the
are
hills.
going,
Yeah.
you should like know between yourself and them and the Lord that you're gonna take their instincts as guidance on some of this also, like,
Yeah.
to not get swept up in something foolish. On the other hand, I admire women who are not like too romantic, not too romantic to just
to be practical.
to say, you know what, I want to get married and I would like to, like, I
Sure.
like to be
Like,
practical
let's
in the
be
sense
real.
of,
Ruth took things into her own hands.
gosh, or just
a
today
little
I was
bit.
just listening to Abigail and David, and I was thinking, man, what was her, I'm like, that's an amazing time when that she's like, her husband dies and she's like, this just in, servants are like, this just in, David's ready to take you on, and she quickly gathers up her goods and barges across the land.
I always feel like the next verse is a letdown, though.
yeah, because amongst his other women.
And then there's a few others.
And the other ones, but Michael got given away to someone else.
Because
And you're like, whoa! It's a really it's
I
not.
always really like the Abigail story, but
I
then
did too, but
the
then
addition of those other ones kind of takes the
you're
edge
kind
off.
of like, huh? What a romantic time that must have been for Abigail. How strange. But the thing, you know what else struck me today? I have not fleshed this thought out, but I was thinking about David and Goliath. And it just struck me as funny. I was like, I've always read that as a real just distinct story in the Old Testament, like how David came to be a something.
Yeah.
Started out as the cheese delivery man.
Yes, I know.
Back when David was just running cheeses for his father and shepherding. So it's probably goat cheese. No doubt it was pretty tasty cheese, but
But I was struck too, though, with, he was young,
yeah.
and he's too young to go to battle, and he'd already faced a lion and a bear. Like,
Yeah.
think of that.
Well, that he'd already grabbed the lion by
the
its
beard.
beard and gotten the sheep out of it. So he must have been a man with some command. Like, even as a
Yeah.
young,
But, like, that's a young kid doing that.
Yeah.
And it's like with
for
not
a sheep.
I know,
You
for a
think
sheep.
surely not for a sheep. Don't go in after that. So,
Yeah.
but this was the thing that struck me that I never thought of about this. That I was like, I'm sure other people have thought of it, it just struck me today, was that in that whole phase where he says, I'll do it, and then Saul is like, okay, well, here's my armor, you know what I mean, like, we gotta put this on, and then he takes it all off.
Yeah.
How much that is the thing with the Jews still wanting Jesus to be a military hero. And it isn't the difference between did Goliath fall or not.
Yeah.
It was the difference between them wanting him to lead them into battle and vanquish the foe versus what happens when David does it is he says, I'm not going to do this as a warrior. I'm going to do this. He says that, but he goes out and does it as a shepherd, not as a warrior. And the crazy thing is that makes the whole army sheep instead of a powerful, it puts them in a very different light to have the shepherd boy go out and do it. And it struck me that I was like, the parallels to Christ, I don't think that story happened just to parallel Christ. I'm just saying, I still, looking at it, I think it's its own distinct story. But it is still an interesting thing that Saul is like if someone was going to vanquish Goliath, they wanted it to be a warrior. So they're like, here, you wear the king's armor. You know what I mean? Like, we'll get you all gussied up. And he's like, this is not it for me. And he takes it off. But it just struck me that the whole desire for Jesus to, like, be a military force.
That's interesting. I never thought of that. But I was going to say, this is another one of those places where I think kids' versions kind of, you infer something from that story that I don't think it doesn't say that. So I feel like the kids' versions always have David putting it on, and he's like a little kid, and Saul's big, and the armor's too big for him, and it's all like clanking around, and he doesn't fit it, and so he has to take it back off. But he doesn't say that. He says that I won't use this armor because I haven't proven it. Like, it's untested for me, and so he takes it off. But it's not like because he objects to the armor or because he's too little to fit it. And I feel like that's how the illustrated versions always make him. They want him to be like a little small guy.
Like where he's like, oh man, this is silly. I don't need to wear this. But see, that's what I thought. I wasn't thinking that, but I mean, that's why I thought it was interesting that he took it off, because he was basically saying, like, I think what I'm trying to say is that when he goes out as a shepherd to fight Goliath, he is functionally making the whole army, Saul's whole army, the sheep that need him.
Yeah.
Like you say, not only am I not armed like that, not only am I not gussied up in my fanfare, I'm just out here to do this, but it's also an insult to you that you know what I mean? Like, it also downgrades the army.
16 levels of insult.
Yeah, I just thought it was really an interesting...
It's very awkward that they're all standing
and his
there.
Older brothers. His older brothers who are like, what are you doing here? Why did you come? Oh, dang it. Like, now he's doing that.
But as soon as one person steps out to be courageous, by default, everyone else looks like cowards. And so there's this kind of mutual need that I think everybody has to not have anyone step out. Because as long as no one's doing it,
as long as nobody says this is stupid, then everybody is floating along with
okay. But as soon as one guy steps up,
right,
then everyone's cowardice.
Then anyone who won't say I agree with this or
I think this is a funny thing where like Christians try to they like police their own. If one person starts being a little bit too faithful or a little bit too outspokenly Christian,
they lash out at that.
Yeah, it's like we do this weird policing of our own ranks that like, because I think as soon as one person steps out, it makes the rest of us not look so good. So we have an interest in keeping them back.
Right, like you're like, no, stop it. You can't do it. It's undoable. If you go out there like it can be done,
then I
might look like a fool that didn't do it. Like, let's all stop. Yeah. But I guess I just thought it was an interesting thing in the foreshadowing Christ in that way, that like the Jews' desire for him to be a military hero. Yeah. That when he wasn't that, he did still accomplish the same thing in the sense that he still won. He still got the victory.
But it put
them in a bad place. Yeah. Like, it put them in the place of not just sheep, rebellious, disafussin' sheep. Like, bad sheep. You know, like, and anyways.
We should just pause and say disafussin.
Disafussin
Wasn't
is
that
a Knox.
coined by my son Knox when he was little, that he would say, I'm just disafussin.
I am disafussin.
Disafussy. That's what he would say, that he was feeling disafussy.
Yeah.
And it's such a good word, because it's like, how often is that not exactly what I'm feeling like?
You're disafussin.
Disafussin.
Yeah. Moses is in that phase where I have a lot of moments with him. He's so funny, but such good moments with him where I have to get down and we have a talk.
Yeah.
You know, we have a little power struggle amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
But the thing that is killing me dead is it's often happening when we're leaving. So as we get to the car, his announcement to the kids is he's always like, "Hey, I obeyed!" And then he goes, "Yeah!" Like he puts both of his hands up and he's cheering for himself, and they all applaud him. And like, so when he obeys, it's like we're never gonna hear the end of it. When he does a power obedience, he's
and then
like,
you're gonna have to like
it's
move
turned
into
into
the next grade level, which is not praising your own good works.
He's not there yet. We're not there yet. I love that though we were calling it the double dog obeying. We're like, you did a double dog obedience. Like, yes, because he has this thing about his bogs. He doesn't like to wear his bogs. So if I say, "I'd like you to wear your bogs," says, "No, mama." And then we have to have a talk, and then he's like, I say, "Let's try again." I'm like, "You gotta wear your bogs." He's like, "Okay, mama." And then that's when then he'll be so stoked. But if he ever does it just on the first time that I say put on your bogs and he says, "Okay, mama," then he goes forth triumphantly to the car with like, "I did it! I did it!" It's good times.
Yeah, it's a good. I feel like sometimes those are the moments when Jesus says, "Unless you be as a little child."
Yeah, right? Unless you
Like,
just, although,
what did I tell you?
something struck
Did
me
you
about
just
that
do
too.
it?
So our listeners, some of you I'm sure are not Pedo Baptist, but we baptize our children. But one of the things that I think is, for me, what stands out in that is that we don't believe that we're responsible in any way for our salvation, like in the sense that we're contributing nothing. We're bringing nothing here, like Christ does this, which is why there's no great insult in thinking that my children could also have produced nothing.
Okay.
Do you know? You see what I'm saying? The you quoting that verse is what made me think of it when I read that recently about the unless you be as a child in this like that and suffer the little children. What's the rest? It's suffering the little children to come
unto me.
Is that not a kid with the soup knife?
No, it's not a kid.
Just someone else walking by with a baking pan.
Yeah, but it's not one of our people.
Not one of the soup knife people. No. Anyways, that part about not suffering.
Suffer the little children.
I was like,
and forbid them not.
Forbid them not. I'm like, not suffer not. Suffer. Okay, do you want to know? I have to tell you this. Major distraction here. Sorry. Speaking of Moses. Last night, I'm like, Moses, it's probably time I tell you about. Like, you know, you have those moments of like, who's telling Moses anything? Probably no one. I should talk to him about some stuff. So he was playing with a baby doll, which was really entertaining and funny. He like found a baby doll in the basement, and so he was upstairs with it, and he was just busy buns with that doll. Like he was just like, "Mama, baby's up!" Like, "Night, baby, baby's up!" Like, "It's back, baby's thirsty." Like he was just all over the place. Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, I should take this shot to tell Moses about the
Baby
Christmas
Jesus.
story." And I was like, "Man, this is my big opening. This is my big shot, Rachel." So I'm like, have him on my lap, and I'm like, I'll just tell him the Christmas story. And I was like, and it'll be way over his head because he's a little doink. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. So Moses. So there's no surrounding context except for that he was just playing with the baby doll. So nothing was happening then. It just prompted me to think about telling him about this. So I said, long time ago, there was a woman named Mary. And an angel appeared to Mary and said, "Do not be afraid." Because, and he said, "Baby Jesus." And I was like, "Yes, baby Jesus." And he said, "And a camel?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "And sheepies?" And I was like, "Yes." And I was like, so I see that someone has come before me and told you the story already.
Covered the bases.
So now now I realize either people were telling him the Christmas story nonstop all this time and I was not hearing it. Or but now he's pointed it out to me all the time, like talking about baby Jesus all the time. Really like they're up there on the shelf. It's a little.
That's hilarious.
I know, it's pretty funny.
I love it.
I was like, well, I'm glad someone told
That
you.
is a hoot.
It reminds me of the time we were on our way to school. No, not school. On our way to church, and like, oh, it's Palm Sunday. Like, kids,
Yeah.
it's Palm Sunday, and we were like, that Palm Sunday. It's about the time when Jesus rode into Jerusalem, and we're like, and the people took down palm branches, and Lena then, who was like 3 or 4 at the time, then just. She's like, oh, and the people said, Hosanna, Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. We were like,
Oh
yeah, that is what happened.
Okay, so I think maybe it was your kids
It
who
was
were
a kindergarten
over.
teacher that probably got
That's
that
good.
in.
You're,
Yeah.
it's, you know, bless the
Mhm.
kindergarten teachers. No,
Amen.
I was having to give a talk at a Christmas ladies thing a couple years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it was in the evening, and I was getting ready to run out the door, and I feel like it was your kids
Oh,
who
it
were
was,
there.
'cause it
or
was- yeah.
it your kids?
Yeah,
And so-
because they were in the kitchen, right?
They were in the kitchen, and I was getting
The
ready to run
kitchen
out.
at the party.
Was
They
it
were
at the
They were
party?
at the party in the kitchen.
Oh, maybe. And so anyway, I was blanking on the beginning words of the Magnificat. Like, I was like, guys, how does the Magnificat start? And without missing a beat, they all shout together in unison the Magnificat in Latin. The beginning of the Magnificat in Latin. And I was like, what?
Mayum something, right?
Well, see, I don't know the beginning of the Magnificat
Yes,
in Latin.
my soul doth magnify the
Yeah,
Lord.
sure, but I don't have it
Yeah.
memorized. So, but anyway, I was like, English? Could you give me
Could
that
you run
in
that by
English?
me?
But it was so funny because it's like, okay, well, somebody's taught you
Well,
something,
good job, guys.
and I didn't know you knew it.
Good job overachieving on that one.
It's
Oh,
always
man.
a good thing to find out that.
Yes, okay, our kids, have we talked about the Bible trivia game that our kids play? Because this is a great Bible trivia game, and it is terrifyingly intense. So, be forewarned.
You'll have to cover it because I don't remember the rules of it.
Okay, but
I just know it's an ongoing.
it is an ongoing game that they play all the time with all the cousins.
Yeah,
So whoever is like
just
the
in, like,
starter.
in between moments.
Yeah, like while they're waiting for dessert or something, they'll be
Yeah.
playing Bible trivia. And if you can get your kids to do this, it's a great way to have them really studying it up because, boy, do they ever care. It's a competitive Bible trivia. But what they do is you pick a letter. So whoever starts it would say, let's do Bible trivia. And it might be like, I'm going to do,
L.
L? I was going to say L.
We are on track
But-
together tonight.
But, anyways, let's say that in my mind I'm thinking Lemuel. And
Okay.
then I'll say L.
Right. And then I say, is it Levi?
Yeah, and no. You would say, wrong.
Oh, I'm messing up the rules, guys.
You don't say, is it Levi? No, this
Oh.
adds a layer.
Oh, yeah.
You would have to say, is it the head of the priestly tribe?
Oh, yeah.
And the person who picked L in the first place has to say, no, it is not Levi.
That's right.
And if they can't say Levi, then they have to give a clue
yes.
for who they were doing.
Yes.
So then everyone keeps on with these
Right. And then
with names from the Bible, right?
Yeah. So then I'm thinking, is it, oh gosh, what's another L name?
And I'm struggling. See, this is
Levi,
why we
Lemuel.
fear to do this with our children, because sometimes
Like
you're
there's
like,
no one named
how?
Laura. What could it be?
Probably not Laura. Lydia.
Lydia.
You could be a seller of purple.
Yeah.
And you'd be
so
like, no, it's not Lydia.
right. And then often they have to go off for a while before they can answer the question. No, it is not Lydia. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like they
yeah,
have
no,
to go
it-
have a
it's-
rummage through
they're-
the scriptures.
That's if they refuse to pass on
Yeah.
without just doing it. So it's a pretty intense game, but boy does it keep everyone on their tippy toes of
Yeah.
Bible knowledge. And when we're in the car and the kids are like, let's play Bible trivia, the worst part is among the kids, of course, they've really curated a collection of obscure Bible names.
Buzz and Buzz.
And they're like, ha ha, why didn't you know he had 30 sons that he married to 30 daughters of somewhere and 30 daughters that he married to 30 sons of somewhere? And you're like, well, apparently I was not on it with my Bible reading. Unlike you people, and they really love that game. So anyways, but I like that I said Lemuel, but then I'm like, I would
is
have a hard
Lemuel?
time. Well, isn't he the one who gives King Lemuel, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a King Lemuel.
Isn't that the what's my son and what son of my...
Like Lemuel's mother.
Yeah, it was like Lemuel's mother is
my
the
son
person.
and what son of my womb and what son of my vows.
Do not give your strength to women, nor your ways to that which destroys kings. Why are we in this?
Yeah.
Why are we knowing the interesting?
It's good.
Anyways,
King Lemuel's mother, she was onto something.
She seemed to have
That
been
is a good
prepared
section
in advance
to make your sons memorize too. Like,
don't give your ways to that which destroys kings. That is a...
Do not give your strength to women, your ways to that which destroys kings. And then the passage about strong drink. Oh, which is a peeve of mine. Everyone always takes that as like, give strong drink to him who is perishing and wine to those who are bitter of heart. As if it's cool for people who are sad to get drunk because you see the Bible says to.
Cheer yourself up with a little drunkenness.
It's like, nope, that's not what that means. It's like...
Tell us what it does mean, Beck.
Tell you what it does mean. It's like there are the ways that the leaders behave, the kings behave, and then there's the ways that the lost, broken, and perishing are behaving.
It's saying don't be that.
And you must be like this.
A king, yeah.
Don't be like that.
It's not saying because you're actually the one dispensing a strong drink.
Yeah,
to them.
like go. Yeah. Would you please take strong drink around and give them
and get them drunk. Get them do that for them.
It's not what it means.
No, it's not what it means.
Anyways.
So,
but it's like, it is not for kings, O Lemuel. It's not for kings.
Yes, exactly. So anyways, that's the Bible trivia game that'll kill you dead when you get going on it. But it is also one that has been fun when my kids are doing the Bible reading challenge. I know they're just taking notes. They're just like, oh, I'm going to get them with that one. This is a good one. And,
that's good.
That is pretty funny.
That's good.
Is it time to be done with our second podcast?
Luke, I just got a text from my husband that says
tell me
that
you're
your husband needs us to be done now because they're still inside.
Moses is in there
with a reckless amount of soup bowls everywhere.
Yeah, so probably we should take off here.
Probably go.
But my Christmas song recommendation for you all, I guess, was The Messiah.
Oh, we talked about Christmas recommendations, and I said The Messiah. It makes me feel like it's Christmas.
It's a good one. And mine is do the Oh Hellos Begin and Never Cease, but also The Messiah. I do like The Messiah.
The Messiah to me is sort of like that.
It's like real Christmas.
Yeah,
it's like enough with the hubbub of getting ready. Yeah. It's the real thing now.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas prep. We'll see you next time.
I'll clean up my salad sometime soon.
All right. Bye.
New St. Andrews College thanks you for listening.